Good morning. Good morning, everybody. It's me. Who else? Mitch. Welcome to Morning Coffee with Mitch on this beautiful, finally sunny Sunday morning here in Melbourne, Florida. We have had thunderstorms and rain and everything else falling from the sky over the last few days. But this morning, I went outside early, got a little sun. It was gorgeous. Almost hated to come back in. At any rate, here we are. And as usual, my friends, drink it if you got it. And I'll drink a little more. There we go. Good deal, good deal. Good to be with you as people start to pour in. Hope the crowd control is doing its job out there. And we will fade out the music and get rid of that annoying banner at the bottom. I forget. Sometimes I leave that stupid thing going the whole stream. And y'all know it's live from sunny Melbourne. So, all that said, today we've got Tina Schwickerath, Tina S, in the green room. I'm looking at her face, and we're going to bring her in as soon as I get done with the normal little opening stuff. Let the crowd find their way in. There is something. When I watched my live stream the other day, I kept hearing this sound. You hear that? I was watching it through a really good sound system. And honest to God, I went, what was it? It sounded like I farted. And it kept happening. And I've said, holy cow. Mitch, it sounds like you're an old man and you're just sitting there farting your ass off. And, and then it dawned on me that the microphone is picking up the sound of this leather on my chair when I move around in it. So please, 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 when you hear that sound, know what it is. If there's nothing else about Carnivore that I truly appreciate, it's the fact that it eliminates most of that. And we don't have the gas and make all kinds of noise and fart when we walk like most old people. So, you know what that is now. And I said, holy cow, I got to tell them that. They think I'm just some old fart sitting here, just every other word. I was embarrassed. I even thought about maybe I better get a chair that's not leather, that doesn't squeak so much when I move. But normally I don't move a whole lot. But if I have to readjust my position or something, or a lot of times I'll turn and reach over for something to show you. That's generally what I hear when I hear the noise. So in order to not drag out this opening, I don't have many show notes today, other than my Buy Me a Coffee link. And I put that in there and get that out of the way. Let's see, here it is right here. I put that in the chat. And I do appreciate that very much. There you go. And got that. That's all the housekeeping I really have. The only other thing on my list is Tina. Tina's got a lot to tell us about her checkered past and carnivore and everything. And I said to her, I said, when I think about having guests, I think, well, maybe they're not very comfortable talking about themselves, but you'll find out real quick Tina's not like that. She's prepared. She's got lists of all the crap that she's going through. So while it may end up sounding like an interview, I'm just not going to have to ask any questions. And that's refreshing for me to have a guest like that. And One thing about Tina I will tell you is that she's from the eastern shore of Maryland, which is very close to Philadelphia, where I grew up, and they all sound just exactly like every female relative I had, my mother, my aunts, and everybody else. And when I hear her talk, it's it takes me back. It really does. So I can only describe her as a fire plug. You wait. She just a no nonsense lady is going to tell you how she feels, kind of like I am. So we have a lot. We have a lot in common. And let's see who was here last night. I'll say hi to you, Rick. First one, as usual, charge of Mopar. Rick's had a crazy day yesterday. I can't believe this 9.5 hour live stream. You are out of your friggin' mind there, Rick. Get a life, man. Mowed the grass. I'm now cooking dinner. Watch. Holy cow. Holy cow. Mary M was here. Mary M was here last night. And Wayne Herman. Peter chimed in. See you tomorrow morning. And Rick and Peter were conversating a little. Smoothie was here last night. And retired Rick also. It's nice to know we have a bunch of Ricks. One is retired. One does 9.5 hour live streams. Mandy Beddoes was here last night also. Fur Grandma checked in around 11:30. Wow. Jem checked in at 3:25 a.m. Of course, that's half past midnight on the West Coast. And 4:55 this morning, me, Cool Cat, checked in. How you doing? Looks like you're becoming a regular here. Good to see you. One of the early birds this morning, Mike Seeley, slept in today. Slept 5:45. Then Aunt B chimed in and proceeded to say hi to virtually everybody in the house. And I like this one. Aunt B says, Grud, I am officially done talking smack about you, Rick, as I got crowned for doing so. Yeah. A lot of people get the first impression about Rick, and I was included in that. I thought the guy was some kind of lunatic. With all the ducks, the ducks. Yeah, got to get one of them in and everything. But the more I got to know him, the more I started to admire him, and I really do. And Rick may be one of the longest, if not the longest, carnivore person in over 40 years in our entire community. And he was a carnivore before he even knew that you were supposed to call it carnivore. So I imagine there's a lot of people in this world that practice a carnivore lifestyle. Got to be millions of them, but really don't put a label to it. It is what we're supposed to do. And if people follow their instincts and not the propaganda and advertising, and don't worry about the fact that everybody else is telling them it's going to kill them, they're the ones that are thriving. And Rick is very lucky that he discovered this at a young age. Michael Pregler Sunday morning again, but he won't be here. He's going to be out in the woods shooting tasty animals to eat. That's primal living. Rick chimed back in this morning at 7:30. Good to see you. And Mike Seeley Sr. from Melbourne is here. At 7:50, Smoothie chimed in this morning, and Sandy Blythe needs her Mitch fix this morning. Well, here I am. I don't know if I can fix it, but we'll give it a shot. Media Toots is here. Good morning to you. And there's where Tina chimed in and said, good morning. We're up to about 8:20 in the chat, and Steve Rogers, Captain America, is with us. How you doing, Steve? Peter chimed in this morning. Thank goodness I'm not ranked yet. Well, give it a second, Peter. You will be. There's no doubt about that. Larry Ryan chimed in. Sneaking up on 8:30, Aaron Ubi Goats is here. How you doing? I'm listening. Got to go shopping. I'll bet. Yes, ma'am. If I had 10 kids, I'd spend my life shopping. Holy cow, I can't imagine. Can't imagine. Bacon Baby's here this morning, 8:29. Terry Sue checked in. How you doing? Barbecue sauce, stained fingered Mitch fist. I don't think so. I don't think many of us were eating barbecue sauce. I think we were eating the meat. We were having barbecues, but my fingers are lily white. 100% pure. Carnivore. No sauce. Charlie Voitis, good morning. How you doing from Ponte Vedra Beach? Good to see you. And we sneak it up on 8:30. Sneaking up on 8:30. Rick was at 8:29. And wow, 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 wow. Look who wins this morning. It is Kathy. Florida, Florida. How you doing, Kathy? Congratulations. You have won. Tanya comes in and says, Mitch and Tina the boss. I'm afraid so. I think so, yeah. Lori Weitzel says, good morning, Lori. How you doing? Says, are we there yet? Yes, we are. Here we are, Don Shager. And John Logan, good morning. Hi, John. I don't think I've seen that name around a lot, so welcome. Welcome. Oh, so we have Mitch and Tina sitting in the tree this morning. It will be good. And Steve Rogers came back at 8:30. Bacon Baby. Lori again. Peter chimed in at 8:30. You didn't beat Kathy, though. And we're still 8:30 and a smoothie. Coffee is hot. Weather is not. What a perfect thing. What a perfect set of circumstances that is. It was gorgeous out here this morning. Gorgeous. How are we doing on time? Yeah, I don't want to take up too much of Tina's time. But we got nowhere to go, and most of the day to get there. Brian Dish, good morning, everybody. Oh, it is hot and humid in Pittsburgh. That's where my sister lives. Nathan Tate, good morning, Nathan, from Erie, PA. Well, Northeast is very well represented this morning. Peter says, the fake Curry called into Rick's Saturday AM live show yesterday and talked to Rick. I guess that's you see, sometimes Peter's typing on his cell phone, screws up for a few minutes. Was very interesting. Okay. Here's an interesting handle. Carnivore, the power of healing. Wow. Good morning. Good morning. I haven't seen that one before. Very clever. Carnivore Police is here. How you doing? And Carnivore Police is at 8:31. Mama Bear and Danny in Boston. Hi, Danny. How are you? How are you? Good to see you. Bacon Baby again. Kitchen Witch. Brenda McIntyre. I just gotta get through this pretty quick. Good morning, everyone. And as always, don't let your meat loaf. My meat hardly ever loafs, man. I'm so busy. I am so busy, which is great. Great to have something to be busy doing. This is sad news. Dante's mom passed away. Ferrante Freedom. Dante Ferrigno. Nice guy. I met him at Kelsey's meet-in down at his home, at the barbecue at Sarasota. Just a nice guy. He's in Florida here too. His mom passed away. And I got some terrible news from my daughter, my poor daughter. Choked me up too. One of her dogs passed away yesterday, named Smokey. And he was a big doodle. You know what they are? One of those curly haired, but huge, like a standard poodle, big dog. And this dog I had such a unique personality. And when I would go over there and I would eat dinner, Oh, and they always ate in front of the TV on the big couch. That dog would plant himself in front of me and give me a stare like this. Made me feel so guilty about eating dinner in front of him, and he wouldn't blink even. And I would say, D, that's what I call my daughter. Would you please get that dog to go somewhere else? And she would laugh. The dog could jump and put his paws up on your shoulders. That's how big he is, like a horse. So, and then she went ahead and got another one. Now, Smokey mellowed out over the years and became less excitable. But Cody named the little dog. It was the same size, only white, and that dog's never going to grow up. So my daughter, she just texted me, and I didn't even want to call her because I know she didn't want to talk about it, and I know that it would have busted her up. But she's going to. We sometimes grieve more for the loss of a pet than we do for the loss of a relative. That's the kind of bond people make with their animals. So, Dee, I am so sorry if you're watching to hear about Smokey. That's the second of the first two doodles. The first doodle, try to guess his name. Bandit. The first little doodle was a little one. It was named Bandit. And then they bought this other one shortly thereafter and named it Smokey. So she had Smokey and the Bandit. So this is the end of an era for them. And I was so sorry to hear that. But life goes on. Jeff Johnson is here. Jeff Johnson, and name you know he'd be to your stuff so simple even I can understand that. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks so much. Appreciate it. Where are we? 8:32. Smoothie in charge of mobile. Barbara S. is here. Good morning, Barbara. And pretty soon I'm going to stop wasting time saying, well, it's not a waste of time. It's one of the things I really enjoy doing is acknowledging people that are here. I'll quick take a look for anybody. Gary Noslow. Farts never get old. It's true. It's true. They really don't. I wonder where the stigma came from. Yeah, you're reacting to me talking about my chair. I had to do that. Okay, I'll get past the far stuff. Well, I've said hi to everybody, and I'll keep an eye out. Tina's not going to be able to read the chat during this thing, so if you have any questions for her, put a QQQQ in there, and maybe put Tina, and then ask a question. And if she's talking, I'm going to be scrolling through looking for those things, so I'll catch it, and we'll ask her. Max D is here. Hi, Max D. And that's about enough of that. Okay, we'll leave it there. One more. AP is here this morning. Good morning from Alberta, Canada. And Julie Wigger. Hi, Julie. How are you? From down under. Good afternoon. Are you from Australia or are you over in Europe? Because it's afternoon in Europe, too. No, it's Europe, I think. I try to remember these things. VJS, good morning. Your fault. I might Mitch watching one of your old videos about the food compass. Wow, wasn't that insane? I need to remake a video about that because the absurdity just doesn't, time does not take away the absurdity of some of these lunatic studies that reputable universities come out with. And the food compass, if you remember, was the one where they said they ranked all these foods in order of their health, and they rank Lucky Charms for breakfast foods. They're like Lucky Charms a 9 out of 10, and a fried egg in butter a 1 out of 10. Now, you can't make that stuff up. You can't. I can go on all day like this. So I'm sorry, Tina. Are you ready, my dear? Are you ready? Shake your head. Yes, he's ready. Okay, good. Here you are. Everybody meet Tina. Yes.
Yeah, my name's long.
It's all but I think I pronounce it right, don't I?
You do. You do great.
Schwickerath.
The first year I had it.
I had a hard time figuring the spelling out, though. So, Tina, what you put me through last night, I didn't want to put your last name up there and spell it wrong. And because my last name is Weiss, and you have the Schwei in yours, I was spelling them with an EI, and
It's
it
CK.
didn't look right. It didn't look right. So I said, "Oh, I'll just look at her email." Well, it's not in your email. I said, "Well, I guess I got to go back over some old videos, run the chat." So it took me 3 videos
Oh,
to find where you actually made an entry in the chat, so I knew how to spell your last name. But I got it. I got it right. I got it right. We like to be precise. So Tina, we talked a little bit beforehand, and you it sounds like you can take over from here, and I'll just grab my coffee and take the rest of the day off. You're gonna
if you'd
uh,
like for me to, because see, I have my little note card that I've been working on for 4 or 5 days here because I was so sick and had so many issues starting at a young age. And it was hard for my old 69-year-old brain to really come up with it. But once I got going, um, you'll see as I go through this. And I can tell you that in the last 1 year and 4 months on being on carnivore has been the best, healthiest of my whole life. And I'm 69. And
wow.
Mitch,
Boy,
you
does
are
it
my hero.
do you make me feel old? Wow.
Yes, but you are my hero. I found you about 3 weeks into my carnivore journey. But let me, if you don't mind, indulge me a few minutes and I will go
Sure,
back in
sure.
history.
Go right ahead. I'm going to go ahead and mute my mic so you can.
No, well, don't, don't
Yeah,
do
I'll just go
that.
ahead. You take it away and just kind
Stop
of
me
wave
at
at me
any
when you're ready to
time. But
come
this,
back.
I literally could write a book.
Maybe
Um,
you should.
I don't know who
Maybe you
would read
should.
it. I don't know who would read
Well,
it. But I'll start by saying that I grew up on a farm. My father was a waterman. My mom was a farmer's wife. She stayed at home all the time and cook, 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 cook. And that's what she did. We ate 3 meals a day. And so food was never an issue. There was always plenty of food. Now, I was skinny until I was 18. And at the age of 18, I went on birth control. And I was an avid golfer and an avid bowler. I golfed about 3 times a week. We would get together, go to breakfast, usually at Dunkin' Donut or something like that, have fattening food. And when I was 22, I started having pain in my gallbladder area. They took me from the golf course 3 weeks in a row in an ambulance. I couldn't, the pain was so strong I couldn't move. I was 22. They couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. Finally, on the third trip, they did emergency surgery, thinking it was my gallbladder because nothing was showing up on the x-ray. But that's all they could come up with. Well, I had gallbladder disease at 22. And the surgeon said, and I'll never forget it, that he thought the birth control pill was part of the problem because of the estrogen in it increased my bile or something and messed up my gallbladder. Well, after that, I had stomach issues and acid reflux. And of course, I started gaining weight, gaining weight, gaining weight. I went to, when I was like 25 or 26, I went to Nutrisystem. And I may get these out of order. I'm an old lady, so I'm sorry. But
it's
anyway,
close enough.
I went to
Close enough.
Nutrisystem, and you went there 3 nights a week and went to class, and you ate all their prepackaged food. It was disgusting. You might have had a few fruit and this, that, and the other, but the whole thing was based on 1,200 calories. Well, I did lose 30, 40 pounds and felt really good for a little while. Of course, it was only a year or two. I gained it all back. And through all of that, I was still having stomach issues, bowel issues, all kinds of stuff. I was a heavy smoker. I do want to say that, because when I get into this next thing, I am a heavy smoker. By the time I was in my 30s, my blood pressure had gone sky high. I was on a couple different kind of medicines. I had a baby at the age of 37.
Wow.
I gained 70 pounds while
Whoa.
pregnant, and I was already heavy. But the baby only weighed 5 pounds. Does that tell you anything?
Yes, it does.
And I kept that baby fat. I'm 5'2", by the way, and I kept that baby fat for years. I ended up going to Weight Watchers. I hated it. Was not successful on Weight Watchers. Got involved with a group called Take Off Pounds Sensibly. And it's
I
a
remember
weekly
that.
meeting.
Tops. Yeah, I remember that.
I went to a weekly meeting. You weighed in. There was 50, 60 women there and a few men. And I was successful. I mean, again, it was a calorie-based diet, not what you ate, but how much you ate. But I was successful. Still bowling, still golfing. 2 years, the Tops disbanded in our area. I gained all my weight back, plus some. I've lost 40 to 60 pounds 4 times in my life. And each time I did that, I got sicker and sicker. At the age of 41 or 42, I was diagnosed with COPD, stage 1. I was heavy. I had to go to the hospital a lot for breathing treatment, carried the inhalers with me everywhere I went, and had that issue until Carnivore, and I'll explain that later. When I was 53, I had a stroke. That was 16 years ago.
Oh, welcome to the club, huh?
One doctor called it a mini stroke. Another doctor called it a TIA.
Okay.
I was in the hospital for a week. I did outpatient from my home, outpatient back to the hospital for therapy. It was a blood thing in my right temporal, which affected my left side. Thank God it wasn't permanent. Therapy helped. What I had the most problem was on my left side. I'm doing it wrong, but on my left side of my mouth, I lost my tongue, part of my tongue, and the feeling in my face. So I talked like I had just come from the dentist for 4 to 6 weeks. And
Wow.
I didn't, that was disgusting because I was a manager at a car dealership. I had to take quite a bit of time off. But I got through it. Now, what happened was when I had this stroke, they put me on a medicine, an aspirin with some other stuff in it that was about the size of a quarter. And I'm not kidding. It was a huge pill. And about 2 months into this, eating this big aspirin pill, I was spitting up blood. Rushed to the I was in so much pain and agony. Rushed to the hospital by ambulance. My whole family's in there. They're thinking I'm having another stroke. Well, after all the tests are done, they found out that the lining of my esophagus had been burnt off from the aspirin pill that they had given me, which started a whole nother 6 or 7 years of a nightmare of having endoscopy every 3 to 6 months. And they took me off the big fat pill and put me on baby aspirin. Now, through all of this, from the time I was about 40, I had arrhythmia, heart palpitations, and heart issues. And so I was going to a heart doctor a lot. And they kept testing me for different things. And nobody ever once said to me, it's what you're eating. That, looking back now, nobody. The blood pressure. The last time I was rushed to the hospital was 1 month before I started Carnivore. my blood pressure was 200 over 110.
When's the last time any of you watching have been to a doctor right up until yesterday where anybody has ever even suggested the remotest possibility that it might be what you're eating? Now, contrast that with a veterinarian. That's the first thing they always tell you. What are you feeding your dog? How come dogs get such preferential treatment, reality, and consideration when they're diagnosed, and we human beings, we're not even allowed to consider it's what we're eating? And the reason is the dogs don't make the buying decisions the human beings do. It's a travesty and it's criminal. And you nailed it on the head. They never say what's your diet.
It's sad. And seeing through on and off all of that, I was on acid reflux medicine. They tried 3 or 4 times. I had terrible allergies and sinuses, to the point that even my face would swell up. And like I said, I was back and forth getting breathing treatment. I had water on my knees.
Holy cow.
Kidney stones. Oh my God. 3 visits to the hospital for multiple days with kidney stones.
I've been there too. Honest to God.
Migraines, 1 or 2 migraines a month. I also have Meniere's disease, which is the fluid in the ear, and it gets my equilibrium off, and that makes me stay in bed for a day or 2 and on a pill. They've stopped rushing me to the hospital for that, thank God, because the hospital says, well, you know, all you got to do is take your pill and go to bed. So now I don't go to the hospital for that. But again, I'll tell you what Carnivore did for me.
Okay.
I have a hiatal hernia. I'm also allergic to penicillin, ampicillin,
Oh my God.
statins. Statins about killed me, but my doctor still thinks I should be on one. And I said, fuck you, I'm not going on it. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I had a girl. You let it out here.
I'm not going on a statin. Again, I was on one like 10 years ago. Now my LDL is twice what it was 10 years ago, and he's having a fit.
Yeah,
But
that's probably why you're healthy now.
I went on low carb again through the Atkins, several times and had success, but I never really got down to where I am now. And I even on Carnivore, even at 20 grams a month, I was still having issues. And I typed that into my phone one time, and this was Christmas before I started that month. I said, why am I not feeling better on low carb? And Dr. Ken Berry came up. Never heard of him. I'd never heard of Carnivore. And I listened to him. And for the whole month of December, whenever I could, I would pull up one of his videos and just listen. And at first I thought, this is crazy. That's the weirdest damn thing I've ever heard. It's bad enough not eating bread and not eating pasta, not having a baked potato. I said, this is crazy, just to eat meat. And so in January, I still was watching videos. I watched, Anthony Chafee, Sean Baker, blah, blah, blah. And in January, I did 20 grams. And I lost a couple pounds for the whole month. I've always had a hard time. I was still on 4 medicines: metatopril, lisinopril, a fluid pill, hydrocortisone, and something else that I can't remember now. But anyway, I was on 4 prescriptions. This was January of last year, 2024. In February, after listening to Ken Berry and his wife, I went down to 10 grams. In other words, I've just had like maybe a cup of vegetables or something with all my meat. And with the whole focus of starting Carnivore March 1st, 2024, and I did. And within a month, I was like, oh my God, my arthritis in my fingers don't hurt anymore. The water on my knees is going away. I was sleeping better. I had energy. No headaches for over a month. I mean, the list goes on and on. I was like, and within 6 weeks, I lost 20 pounds that I'd been trying to get off forever. But I had went to the doctor this past December. I had been on Carnivore, 9 months. I weighed like 124 pounds. And when I went in to see my doctor, who has been my doctor for 20 years and put me on all kinds of medicine, he said, Tina, have you been sick? Well, he knew my husband had died in July. So I've been a widow almost a year at the end of July. I said, no, I haven't been sick. Actually, I feel the best that I've felt like since I was 18. And so he took my blood pressure, blah, blah, blah. And I didn't tell him. I quit all my medicine on my own. I did it slowly. I tapered off very slowly. The last time I was in his office the year before, my blood pressure on 3 blood pressure medicines, 2 blood pressure and a fluid pill, my blood pressure was still 150 over 100. When he took my blood pressure that day, last December, 9 months in the Carnivore, he said, Tina, you're doing really good. Those pills must really be working. Your blood pressure is 120 over 70. I said, well, let me tell you something, Dr. Benson.
The crowd cheers, man.
I haven't had a prescription pill in like 7 months.
Congratulations.
He sat back in his seat and he said, well, why? That's not good. I said, did you not just see my blood pressure? He said, well, yeah. He said, well, it must have been all that weight you lost. I said, yeah, that's part of it. I said, but the other half of the story is that I am now a carnivore. He blew up. He went.
Of course.
His face got all red. It was crap. I was like, I just sat back in my seat and watched him. And he squirmed all around and he said, you need vegetables. And I said, well, no, sir, I don't. I said, because vegetables caused me to have kidney stones. They caused me to have hemorrhoids. They caused me to have all kinds of indigestion problems because of my gallbladder. And I said, no, I don't. I said, I am now fat adapted. So to cut that short, I had my blood work done that morning before I stepped into his office. And 2 days later, I got a letter from him, and I shared that with you.
Yeah.
He said, I'm impressed with your health improvement, but your cholesterol is the highest I've ever seen in my 25 years. You must start a statin. It'll lower your chances of a heart attack and a stroke by 40%.
Yeah, 40%. And that, you know where that number came from? The 40% number. Do you remember? You know where that came from? It came from a Crestor advertisement for Crestor. They actually came out and put an ad in the paper, and then guys like David Diamond, all the good guys, showed you how they arrived at that 40% number and what it really meant at the time. And with that study and the fact that your doctor still believes that is gospel, it was the fact that of the 2 groups that they studied, the control group, where it was a placebo double-blind study. The control group was taking a placebo, and the other group was taking a statin. The difference after years and years, the difference after the rate of future heart disease for the group that was taking the statins, 0.8% had a heart problem. So if you had 1,000 people, that would have been 8 out of 1,000 people. Now this is including all of the confounders and misunderstandings and the bad data and everything. The best they could come up with were these numbers. And they used this study to advertise the effectiveness of a statin. And this is so important. And number one, if you were in the group that took the statin, if out of 1,000 people, 8 eventually went on to have heart disease or a heart attack. If you were in the group that did not take the statin, 13 out of 1,000 people went on to have a stroke or a heart attack. That's the best they could come up with. Both of those results in any study are so buried deep in the statistical noise that they are absolutely meaningless. But what do? They use a sneaky thing called relative risk. And since 13 is 40% more than 8, they can then say that the statin will decrease your risk of a heart attack by 40%. Yeah, 40%. So it makes a difference in 5 out of 1,000 people. It's meaningless. It's meaningless. It's within the level of margin of error of these stupid studies. They ran that in an ad. They've been using that same number ever since, and these inept criminal morons in the white coats are killing people based on that study. And I get passionate about it, and that is how absurd, how absolutely absurd it is. And everybody on the planet should watch David Diamond explain with charts and everything how they arrived at that was 43% or 46% number, relative risk, when there was no risk at all. And the side effects, you know what they are. I know what they are. I took a statin for a while. I had muscle pain so bad it almost crippled me.
I couldn't function. And I was taking care. He wanted me to go back on it while I was taking care of my husband who was in hospital. And I said, no. I said, I've got a duty to take care of my husband and to be with my husband. You're not going to knock me on my ass, put me back in bed. It ain't happening.
Did you fire the guy finally?
No, not yet. I really don't have any need for him, but it's a habit. But I want to say what my life is today.
Yeah, let me stop you right there.
Yes, sir.
Okay, just hang on.
Yes,
and I assume you sent me this for a reason.
That was me. That is me now. And I sent one on a horse, the fat man.
There you are. And I wanted you to I wanted to show people this. This is you today. I have the one of you on a horse. I didn't want to show that one, but this is you today.
Yeah.
And let me see if I can figure out better way to do this. I want to blow it up. So
great. Now I do have a little pooch, but
who doesn't at our age, for God's sake?
I feel great. What can I say? I gained 70 pounds when I had a baby, so it hangs there. When I had my gallbladder out in 1978, back then it was a bad surgery. They cut you from there all the way down. They took my appendix out, and they did exploratory surgery in there. So I've got half of a Zorro on my stomach and my lower thing, and then I had a cesarean birth. So then I got cut the other way across the top of my tummy. And so I have some meat there that's, I guess, it's just never.
Look, when you get older, you bear the scars of life, and this obsession about our appearance so much, a lot of times takes away from our health. Actually, if your body has decided how much fat it wants to have to be the healthiest, we all got to have fat. If you don't have enough fat on you, it'll kill you. You need that fat. It needs to put it in there and take it out. Put it in there and take it out. And for the times when you get sick and need a little extra energy, you got it. So your body fights you, and they call that your optimal weight. Everybody does. Your set point. You finally stabilize at a particular weight, and you're going to stay almost pretty close to that for the rest of your life if you continue to eat healthy. But not us. No, we look in the mirror and we say, "Oh, this is unacceptable," and we change and we artificially establish a new goal weight based on how we'll look and wreck our health just as much. So wear it proudly. I can pinch an inch around my waist too, and everybody tells me how skinny I am. So, I'm not giving that inch up. I don't want to.
Well, where I am now is, I did want to say one more thing about my doctor visit in December.
Oh, go ahead.
Because of my stroke, every time I went to have my yearly physical, they always did an EKG. And of course, I always failed it because of the arrhythmia. It was clean as a whistle. So there you go. Take that, Dr. Benton.
You've all heard, I made so many videos about me in the hospital, and you got to know me a little bit. I don't take shit from anybody. And I refuse. I refuse. I went along with some of them. One guy in the hospital was so adamant about this, and he put me on a low-dose statin. I took about a week's worth of them before I finally stopped taking them, just to humor this guy. This was the guy I found out afterwards that is on a crusade and a campaign to have statins put in the drinking water.
No
in
way.
all municipalities. Yeah, he thinks that he's so in a tank for these drugs that he's actually lobbying and doing everything else he can to get governments to put statins so that we can start infants out on statins right away so they don't have this horrible heart disease. Well, when I heard, I immediately said, you know something, I'm going to humor you because if not you, it's going to be somebody else. He was somebody I didn't know. He was a hospitalist for the rehab hospital. And he was going to come in and see me every day and go through this little ritual every night. And they would have me on beta blockers. They wanted to put me on beta blockers. My resting pulse was below 60, but no, you had a stroke. You need to do this, that, and the other thing. And the reason you had a stroke, Mitch, was your cholesterol is so high. And I'm going, that's all I could do. I started calling them. I started saying, I can understand why you believe what you do, but you're wrong. And if you continue to talk to me about this, you're only going to cement the fact in my mind that you are a moron. And I finally got to the point where these doctors did not want to come talk to me anymore. And all they did was label me an uncooperative patient. Well, of course I'm uncooperative. I'm uncooperative because, as far as I'm concerned, none of the things that have related to this diet caused a stroke. Most likely, my head injury, brain surgery that I had. That's where the stroke happened. Secondly, 75 years of unhealthy eating.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I'm recovering faster than anybody. I had it wasn't a TIA. It wasn't a transient ischemic attack. It was a full-fledged stroke.
Yeah,
and I'm recovering fine as far as I'm concerned. It could have been a lot worse. It took me a little while because they kept telling me all these things. And I keep saying to myself, just logically, how can so many professionals be so wrong 100% of the time? Surely, when you take a gaggle of professionals in any field and listen to them tell you what the truth is, surely somebody has got a valid point. And they kept giving me advice, and the more advice you get, the more different things you get, the more different opinions you get, the harder it is for you to maintain your conviction and say you're all wrong.
Wow.
Finally, you need to add carbohydrates to your diet, they said. You need to get your cholesterol down, they said.
It'll mess with your head, doesn't it? When all this crap keeps...
It sure does. And I'm saying, even me, with what I know, it created some doubt in me just from the simple logic that all of these people with their white coats and their Porsches can't be wrong. Surely that can't make sense. But not a single thing that any of them told me was good advice. And I finally said, and you followed me on the recovery here.
Yeah.
The hell with that. No carbs, no ice cream, none of them. Back to the diet that they claim caused the stroke. Because that's when the healing really started to accelerate. And I started to feel, and I started to lose a little of the weight that I was piling on rapidly from doing that. And my gout in my toe came back, and I almost couldn't walk. It hurt so bad. And my back started to ache again. I haven't had that for years. All those little things started to reassert just from a small amount of sugar in my diet. It upset my physiology so much, and it took a day for it to go away when I went back to strict carnivore. So here I am, back again.
It's
back
amazing.
again.
It is just amazing.
It's true. It's true, and I always keep her thinking of the song, the country where it's "Don't believe your lying eyes." No matter what you observe, they're telling you, "Oh, it's not true." But I saw it. No, don't believe your lying eyes. Well, bullshit. And we all know that. And carnivores are not dropping like flies. Very rarely do we lose somebody, and we lost Boyd Lamb. But who knows what Boyd was doing prior to carnivore? Who knows if he didn't have a car accident? We're trying to find out how he died.
We're all going to die.
Sure, exactly.
My goal now is to live however long God lets me live in a healthy way, so that I can function. Look, I'm running and jogging and walking 7,000 to 10,000 steps a day.
Oh, howdy girl.
I have little weights that I lift every day. I do squats. I can get down on the floor and get up and not use my arms or hands.
That's terrific. That's terrific.
I really am working at this to be agile. And I just wanted to finish with saying, not finish, but I want to say that I have not had a migraine in 8 months. I have not used an inhaler or had to go to the hospital for an emergency inhaler in 8 months. I no longer have hemorrhoids. I no longer have constipation. I no longer have arthritis in my fingers. I no longer have water on my knees. And I'm not on any prescription drugs.
Wow.
How's that?
Wow. Very, very similar to my story. I had rheumatoid arthritis so bad, I get a flare up, I couldn't tie my shoes. I went to the VA. They sent me to the VA hospital in Orlando. I had four rheumatologists in my visit with them. One guy training 3 foreign doctors, and all 4 of them couldn't figure out what was causing my problem or tell me a cause of action other than enormous amount of medication, but nothing to get rid of the arthritis. It took a week or 2 to go away once I started carnivore. I still had a little of it on keto because I was still eating some plants. Now, not everybody reacts to plants like this. We've eaten plants since the beginning of time, but we've eaten in extreme moderation. They weren't genetically modified plants. We didn't have the sugar involved and the carbs involved in this quantity 365 days a year, where that became, instead of our emergency energy source, it became the stable energy source for virtually everybody in America. This is a sea change, and it can't happen fast, and it's not going to happen fast. And and it's taken me time. I've been trying to save the world for years. It's just not going to happen. We have to do it one person at a time, one story at a time, and it will grow eventually. But in order for this way of life, or this lifestyle, to become the standard American diet again, like it was prior to 100 years ago, is going to take more than one lifetime, and you and I will never see it. And I just hope as a legacy, if nothing else, and I won't know the difference anyway, but that I'm a small part of common sense and reality, and helping as many people learn this as I can, and that makes me feel good. That's pretty much the majority of what's in it for me.
Well, here's
But
what I want to say to you, Mitch. Like, again, I want to say you are my hero.
oh,
Changed my life. When I'm lonely, because I am alone a lot now, but hopefully I will start getting out and doing some things. But I watch your videos all the time. If I'm sitting here and I'm crocheting, I have a little side business because I have to make money. I can't live off my Social Security. I
you and
can't.
me both. You and me both.
So I'm stacking up with my adult son right this minute in one little room with my 3 cats.
Wow.
And but I am making money on the side with my crochet, and I make animals, critters. But if I didn't have you to watch, and I started out watching Ken Berry, all the blah 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 blah. You're who I watch. I very seldom will open up another person's video. If I get bored, I want entertainment. I look up one of your piano videos. If I want to, if I feel like I'm getting ready to be a bad girl, then I watch a Mitch video. And my family thinks I'm freaking crazy, nuts. They don't invite me to do much because to them, I'm a freaking pain in the ass. Now, my sister and I are close, and I do, spend time with my nieces and my son. But um, if I go out to dinner with somebody different, I did go on a date a couple months ago, may never go on another one, who knows. He took me to dinner. We went to dinner. I ordered a ribeye. He ordered a steak, so I ordered a ribeye. Of course, he ordered a salad, baked potato, vegetable, blah, blah, blah. And the lady says, well, what would you like to have for vegetables? I said, no, I don't need the vegetables. And he looked at me and he said, well, no, you need to order the vegetables. And I didn't want to get into an argument. We were at a 5-star restaurant. I
Yeah.
said, if you want my food, tell the lady what you want, but don't set it in front of me, please.
Yeah.
I don't want
Eat your vegetables. They've heard that ever since you were a kid. Here,
it.
meat
And
tubes.
then I asked them how they cook their steak. That caused another issue with him. He said, what difference does it make?
Uh,
I said, I've never been here before. I just want to know, how do you cook your steak? She said, we cook it on an open grill. I said, so there's no oil or nothing put on the steak, nothing in between, nothing before. She said, no, ma'am. I
all
said,
right,
okay.
good. Listen, got a question for you
Okay.
from Meatitudes. Tina, when you're in my area, Harvard or Grace, stop by and have a steak with me.
Aw.
How
I
far
know
is that?
what Grace is.
Okay, I'll tell you what. If it's all right with you, if Meatitudes Gmails me, I will Gmail your email address back, so that she or he, I think it's a she, can communicate with you.
I think I'm about 2.5 hours away because
Oh,
that's
it's not like it's next door, but maybe it might be a nice pen pal or friend or somebody that you might have. Yeah,
somewhere.
have a little meetup. Okay, so I just thought I'd tell you that. So
Oh, well, that's good.
if
Thank
you'll
you.
Gmail me, I will reply with Tina's email address, and then the two of you can become 2.5 hour away friends. How about that?
I
I
did.
told you I was
I
going to
did
watch out for
recently
questions.
meet another young lady who is a carnivore, and she mentioned other people other than who I watch, so I wasn't familiar with any of them. And it was by accident. We were at a ball game. I was watching my great nephew play ball, and her and I got talking and everything, and it was shocking. It was like the first carnivore. I've met ketos and low carb people, but it was the first time I've ever met someone who actually eats that way in person. So that was pretty cool. Um,
Well, it's funny that I found out because he was guest on Kiltsy that a fellow named Dom, who did come to our meetup here last week, lived in Melbourne.
oh,
And I
right.
never would have known that. There are carnivores all over the place, but how do you know who they are and where they are? People sometimes used to come up to me in Sam's Club meat department, because that'd probably be the most likely place to run into a carnivore is at the early in the morning looking for the marked down meat at Sam's Club. And I met a couple people like that, and it was very flattering for me. You're the guy on YouTube.
Oh,
Yeah, that was nice, but nothing ever came of those meetings. I never heard from or saw those people again. It wasn't like I met a new friend, but it was something. But very rarely, my son has a couple of friends of his that are carnivores, and of course he brags about my YouTube channel, and they started watching me. But other than that, that's why I used to call us misfits. We just don't fit into society anymore. We don't fit in. We can't party with them. We have nothing to talk about with them. Food is not the be all end all of our daily life. We're not always shopping and cooking and looking for new recipes and watching the Food Network and doing all that crap. Food is just something that we just do. It's just there. I hadn't even thought about eating yet today, and then probably just eat bacon and eggs again first meal. So it's easy.
I eat very simply. I go to the grocery store, I pick up my bacon, I get my eggs from a family member. They're from her yard. And I do eat a lot of seafood. I eat shrimp and salmon and oysters and rockfish. I mean, I'm a waterman's daughter. What can I say? I eat a lot of
Yeah.
crabs, and this time of year, crabs. And ribeye is my favorite. I do eat hamburgers and stuff like that. I'll go to
Well,
McDonald's when I'm working, and
that's all you need. Beatitudes is your age. How about that? The two of you, we like sister. She's 68, so you need to get together. Yeah, send me your email. I think I'm going to play matchmaker here. Terry Sue's your age. She's 68 too. She says.
hi. Yeah,
I'm reading. I'm really able to keep up with the chat because I don't have to be talking constantly. I like this. This is great.
I'll be 70 in February.
Joe King says, I found Tina's Facebook page and got to see her crochet hubby and before carnivore pictures. How about that?
Yes.
So they can search for you on
Facebook.
Not likely to be a lot of Schwickeraths out there, so it should be easy to find.
Yeah. Yeah, I do a lot of crocheting. I'm in 5 places here on the shore near the beach, and I'm very busy this time of year. So, Mitch and Tina, your story is very, I can't read it, inspiring.
Inspiring, yeah. And Tanya, who is younger, Kitchen Witch, says, I'm now looking forward to 68. Wow. You don't have to be senile and decrepit at 68 years old, and you don't have to wait until you don't have to start at 30. You can start at 67, 66.
I put my little skinny stretchy pants on and my tank top and run up and down the lane and back and forth. And
it's great. It's so inspiring. So inspiring.
We live a quarter of a mile off the road, and it's a trailer in the middle of 300 acres of farmland.
Oh, wow.
And right now, everything is green with soybeans.
Yeah, I was going to say, all that farmland, it's like being thirsty and having nothing around you but salt water, ocean. You could get hungry, but you shouldn't eat anything that's growing out of the ground. That's something. Everybody else is busy planting gardens.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should basically plant grass, get a cow, let the cow graze. Be a
Well,
whole lot better for everything.
the farmland is all owned by different farmers.
Oh, okay.
So they come up and down this lane, which kicks off the dogs barking and things get crazy. And so,
Lad asks me, Mitch, do you feel we are part of the 60s rebel generation? Well, I suppose somehow, but I never was never a true 60s type hippie. I wasn't smoking pot. I wasn't marching up and down anti-Vietnam War stuff. I just did my thing and stayed out of the social commentary. But uh, when I think something is, when I really think something is wrong, yes, I'll rebel against it. And just put me in the hospital, and you'll see a rebel. That's for sure. I'm trying. I'm looking at the chat, and I've been putting them up on the screen while you talk. While you talk. While you talk.
well, I'm almost done, I think.
Yeah.
But
Well,
thank you so much for letting me get all of that out.
Oh, Tina, it's been a pleasure, and I'm sure everybody enjoyed it. We have 132 people here, which is great attendance these days on my live stream. So, no, it's been great having you, and
And I've had my coffee, which I put in each cup of coffee. I normally have two, sometimes three, but later in the day, and it's half and half. It's half and half,
yeah.
and I put 1 tablespoon of cream, and I put a half of a tablespoon of butter, and I whip it, and then
Oh man, you like to froth it up? No,
I
that's
do, I
good.
froth it, and then I put a couple drops of my iodine in there.
Yep.
And the only vitamins I take is vitamin D3 with a K,
Uh-huh.
and I use Dr. Berg's electrolyte.
I did for a while. Do you
I
get the?
like them, except that I learned that I still have to put a couple sprinkles of salt in there because that flavor of that sugar, it's not sugar,
It's sweetener.
stevia,
It's stevia. Yeah.
whatever that is disgusting. So if I put just a little few things of salt in it, I know it's already salty. Don't,
Yeah, but you're not going to get too much salt
but
from that.
it
That's for sure.
takes away that aftertaste of that stevia is disgusting to me. I'm sorry. I don't need any sugar. So
Well,
it's just,
it sounds like you got it all figured out, and obviously you're doing very well on it, considering the history of things you've gone through. It's a shame you had to go through that in your life.
yeah,
Um,
I mean, it was one thing after another. And, um, but I can honestly say this is pretty wild. I feel better now at 69 than I did when I was 25 and
uh,
all those
uh,
years in between.
yeah, you and me both. You and me both.
mentally, mentally and physically. And I had a man the other day. Listen, I forgot where I was, but I dropped my. Oh, I was at a funeral. I had a good friend of mine passed suddenly. She was obese. She had MS. Didn't do a thing to help herself. Bless her heart. I loved her dearly, but I went to the funeral, and her brother. I always take a little jacket with me because I get cold now. I used to be a hot mama, but now it doesn't take much for me to get chilly. So if I go someplace, I always take a little jacket with me. Why? I didn't put it on, and when I got ready to go, it fell in the floor. And this gentleman said, "Oh well, ma'am, let me pick that up for you. It's so far down." I said, "Look, buddy."
yeah, say you dropped it and did 50 push-ups.
I said, I can get down on my knees and get back up and not use my hands. I think I can pick up a coat.
Gemma as a question, Tina, can we see your crochet stuff, please? You got anything close by you can hold up?
Yeah, hold on.
Okay.
Hold
All right.
on.
I'm holding. I'll keep down the fort
Well,
in
let's
the
see.
meantime.
I may have to move my little table, but see, these are my snakes.
Oh, cool. Look at that. Let me make you big. Hold on a second. Go
They're
ahead. There you go.
they're 30, 32 inches long.
Wow,
I
look at that.
all kinds of different colors.
I never saw anything like that. I think when I think of crocheting, I think of tablecloths and sweaters.
Yeah, no, honey, this is new time. Hold on, I'm gonna get up.
Okay, this is artwork, isn't it?
Let's see here. Well, see, most of the stuff is outside and the box is in the car before
Oh well, you don't have to go. You don't have to go. I'm sure
I'm
if
gonna
people
just show
found you
you.
on Facebook, they would
I'm
see
just
all
gonna
that stuff.
show you. Yeah, come to Facebook. This is an owl hot
Oh
pad,
man, look at that. That is cute. That's
and
cute
this
as
is
hell.
about 3 inches tall. It's a hot.
Oh wow, look at that. Is that a kitchen mitt?
It's
It,
a hot pad. Now
yeah,
I don't advertise them as a mitt. It's not a mitt. It doesn't know,
oh,
but it.
because people could burn themselves. Yeah.
And this is the chicken hot pad.
Oh, that's cute as hell. Look at that.
And I make every animal that you can imagine almost. Chickens,
That's
ducks,
cool. Very cool. Very cool.
anything. So
I mean, I Peter says Tina's carnivore healing story is amazing in capitals. Wow.
I
It
thank
is, and
you.
it's not that uncommon among people our age um, to hear exactly those same stories because it is true and it did work. Uh, yeah, Jill King says she missed. Did Tina say how old she is? I'm 72 and carnivore saved my life too. Yeah, Jill. Tina's 68,
69.
69 now. 69.
I'll be 70 in February.
It'll be 70. It's a big 70. I'll be 79 in May. Oh, I got the
I
big one.
jog and walk every day as long as it's not raining. 7,000 to 10,000 steps. I can jog a mile. I'm short, so I don't move very fast, but I mean, I can jog a mile.
That's incredible. Considering your history, the
And
recovery from that is incredible.
and I mean, I could die tomorrow, but I can say, look, I felt good until I died.
Well, that's the best way. We're all going to die, but who wants to die a slow, agonizing death over 15 years of
Right?
having to put up with the medical community pumping us full of poison? I'd rather not be alive. There's no way to live. No way to live.
Yeah.
Everybody.
And don't you just wish you could
Sandy thinks you're cute. Sandy thinks you're cute. Sandy Blythe, Tina is so cute, she says. How about that?
You can't see it on camera, but my eyes sag. I got wrinkles over
Oh my God, who's don't?
the turkey neck. You can't see it, but
wear it with pride. Wear it with pride. I wear my.
And then I will say that my hair in the last year has become almost white. Of course, I used to be a bleach blonde, but I stopped that when I retired when I was 62.
But my hair got dark again. Oh, it never got gray, but the longer I've been on carnivore, the darker it gets. It looks a little more gray now. You don't see it here, but you'll see it in my videos because I kind of shave my head fairly close. But as it grows out, the black, it just becomes very dark, and it's still dark at my age. I don't understand it.
When I first started carnivore, my hair got so thin right on both sides here. I thought, oh my God, I'm going to lose my hair.
That's
But
common. That's very common.
it came back.
Yeah.
It's nice and thick now.
Very common on carnivore. You hear that a lot. Jill King wants to know, does Tina sell her crochet online?
No, I don't. I used to, and it's such a pain in the ass. But if you go to my Facebook, and if you see something you want, I do ship. But I don't do PayPal. I don't do anything. I send you the thing, and then you write me a check and just mail it back to me. I'm very trustworthy. But if you see something on my Facebook that you'd like to have something like it, let me know.
And on your Facebook page, there is clear how to contact you.
Yes, once you join me, once you like me.
Okay. They friend you on Facebook.
Yep. You can just message me.
Okay. Good deal. I'm glad everybody knows that. Jeff Johnson says, love the owl, hot mitt, and the chicken. Yeah. How could you not like things that were that cute?
Oh, I make sea turtles and sunflowers and all kinds of keychains, and I don't know. It's over 50 different items. Tina, you look all
Great.
thank you. The picture does me justice, I must say, but
Yeah.
it's
Wow, wow, wow.
you would see my age.
Let's see. I'm still reading the chat. Wow, we've been at it for an hour and 15 minutes. Well,
Where's the
you and
time?
I have been at it for an hour. I hogged the first 15 minutes myself. And we've got 144 people now. Wow. Oh, you're a star, Tina. You're a star.
Well, I really like uh, being here, and I do appreciate you letting me get all that out, and then I'll get rid of my little notes, and it may be the last time I ever go through all of that bullshit and talk about all that hell.
Yeah, yeah. It doesn't. I keep getting into that all the time. Let it go. I tell people. You know, everybody wants to hang on. If I hang on to everything in life that
Yep.
wasn't right, I would be the most bitter old man you ever met. I would be grouchy all the time. It's a battle sometimes. I
Yeah.
always say that it's easier to fall down than it is to climb up, and that's true about everything in life. But God,
And the only reason why I really wanted to go through all of that was, first, it'll help keep me on track. And the second thing is, if it'll help somebody out there understand, just really break through that barrier, that food does make a difference.
oh man, it makes all the difference. Hey, listen to this. First of all, Sam Sapphire. Now, tell me if Sam Sapphire doesn't sound like a great movie private eye name.
Great
Sam
name.
Sapphire. I love it. Sam Sapphire says, question, do you both eat cheese? Do you?
I do.
I don't. Not
If I
anymore.
eat a burger, I get the whole fat cheese, slice it, and I may have one slice a couple times a week. Now, I'm a bad girl because I take mozzarella cheese once in a while. When I really got to have something, I fry it in butter.
Well, that probably helps. It's
Had
a
fried
skim cheese,
cheese?
but yeah, fried cheese. For me, I find I don't like most cheeses. I tend to favor the skim cheeses like a Swiss or mozzarella.
Yeah.
So I don't eat them, but I find them for me. And cheeses are something on carnivore. Yes, a high fat cheese is carnivore, but not everybody can fight the urge to be addicted to those things. So you have to watch out for what we call cheese creep.
Yeah.
You have a little and it was good, and you say, "Oh wow, I like this. I can add this into my." The next day you're having 2 slices. The next day you're having 3 slices. Before you know it, you're eating 2 pounds of that stuff a day. No, that's not good for you. So it won't hurt you if you don't get addicted to
Right.
it.
Right.
Like so many other things in life.
Yeah.
If you're not an addict, don't give me advice.
And see,
Don't
and I
you?
haven't eaten yet today. I've just had my 2 cups of coffee. I might eat 11, 12 o'clock, 4 or 5 strips of bacon, 2 or 3 eggs.
Hey, perfect. You're
And then
following my
maybe 4,
schedule.
4 or 5 o'clock, and I
You're
will eat.
following my schedule. I never eat before 11:30, 12 o'clock. I never have anything in the morning if I'm not hungry. I'm not hungry now. I'm not chomping at the bits to end this little show so I can go eat. I could care less. If I
Yeah,
didn't even eat today,
you know,
it wouldn't bother me. People can't understand that. And I love these people. I was going to make a point. I was thinking about this morning, and I thought of it because I'm constantly thinking about a theme for a video. I have to make one every day. What am I going to do today? And I'm saying to myself, don't people who look at you and say things like, I don't know why you have trouble avoiding sweets. I don't need sweets.
oh my
Don't
God.
you just want to shoot them in the back of the head?
Mhm.
You know, look, holier than thou, but they're not addicts. They have no comprehension of the torture that addiction can put you through to avoid it. I'm
Oh,
the same way, but
I tried the carnivore ice cream, and I could see me going down that rabbit hole, so I stopped it.
me
As a
too,
matter
me
of fact,
too.
I got up one day and I went and dumped out 3 or 4 little containers that I had in the freezer that I had made because I thought, oh, no, no,
That's a strategy I do too. It's throw it away.
throw it
If
away.
I get to the point where that addiction leaves me alone long enough, where my conscious mind's in charge, I say, let me get rid of this shit. I have dumped out more half full bags of frozen blueberries than you could ever imagine.
Yeah.
I would buy a 3 pound bag, and after the first day, when I had eaten half of it, after I got done eating half of it, while I wasn't jonesing for blueberries anymore, I would throw them out. And not only would I throw them out, because if I just threw the bag in the trash, I would be going through the trash to get it. So, oh yeah, yeah, we're talking desperation. What I would do is I would dump the blueberries out of the bag into the trash and then mix it all up together. Make sure there was all kinds of garbage going so that there'd be no way. That's how strong these addictions are. And yet, you put alcohol in front of me, I could care less. Could care less. I don't like it, don't want it, have nothing in my physiology says I need alcohol. So for these people who aren't addicted to sugar or aren't carb addicts, to give me advice from a lofty, holier than thou perspective and say, I don't know why you can't avoid it. I can't, I'll go F yourself. You know, I mean, yeah. And it would be like me saying to an alcoholic, well, God, I don't know what the hell an appeal is. I don't know why you can't avoid a drink. I never need this stuff. Well, that's the same thing. So I never, ever insult an alcoholic by pulling that line on them. But everybody's addicted to something different. You tell a drug addict, I never use cocaine. I don't know why you need it. No. And that's human race. People are stupid. They're dense. They're mean. Who knows? Who knows? Well, listen, Tina, it is getting on 10 o'clock. And I think our audience is deciding to, the day is beckoning them. It is Sunday, still a holiday weekend. So thank you so much for coming, sweetie. Thank you so much. And come back again.
I'll give it a month or 2 or 3 or 4. You know, you can get overdone on me because I'm loud and boisterous and.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, listen, thank you so much. Anything else you want to say?
No, sir. I'll go ahead and leave you, and you take care, and I'll see you on the flip side.
All right, dear. Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Oh, that was great. That was great. That was great. Tina, you're a great guest. And I think everybody enjoyed having you. And Terry Sue thinks you're hilarious. Peter thinks you're a real pistol. There's no doubt about that. Oh, that's great. DS111 is here with us. How you doing? Same here. How you doing? How you doing? And Mike Shirley Sr. Tina, you're a rock star. There you go. Yeah, you should be proud of yourself, Tina. So I don't have a guest booked for next Sunday. If somebody else would like to come on here and try and fill Tina's shoes from today, I would love it. I would love it. This is a great way to sometimes help other people, but also just let this thing be out there so you can yourself let go of all the injustice that you've had to suffer in life because of the bad advice and ignorance of those people telling you what's healthy and what isn't. So we need to stick together, guys. We need to stick together. Sandy says, Tina, love seeing you on here again. You're amazing. Wow, Tina, you got enough fans now to start your own morning coffee. Morning coffee with Tina. Graceful, let's give Tina and Mitch some more thumbs up. Always a good idea. Let's see if I get through the rest of this chat so I can call it a day. I can't read every compliment. There's a question for Tina. Tina, with your hiatal hernia, do you have the head of your bed raised up, and how high? That's Kathy said that. That's interesting. It's interesting. Oh, the chat just keeps going. Everybody loves Tina. Wow, you're a hit. You're a big hit. And just so we include everybody, we're going to include everybody in this chat. We're not going to be mean to those people who don't agree with us. We're going to celebrate them and wish them the best life in the world. So for you, Johnny Martinez. May I suggest your landscaping would be a great place to start. Good health, my friend. 82 says, awesome guest. Yes, yes, yes. Everybody's thanking us. So what I want to do right now while I review the end of the chat, if I ever get there, if you guys ever stop, I'm going to play a little happy music. Say goodbye to your friends. We will see you tomorrow, Monday morning, and the next 5 mornings, because today was the first day of the new week for Morning Coffee with Mitch. Great show. Tina says, oh, you guys are making me blush. Oh, that's great. And Tina answered the question and said, no, I don't have issues with the hernia anymore. Interesting. Wow, Carnivore is great, isn't it? Lori says, thank you to both of us. And Aaron, Gemma, Charger Mopar, Lori again, Terry Sue, bye everybody, Lat, bye to Fur Grandma. Wendy says, bye friends, great, great, great. Roxanne says, thanks, Tina was great. Rick says, every morning with Mitch, except Saturday, man. I can't compete with your 9.5-hour live streams. Try to catch up with me in time. You did more in one day than I did in a whole week. Wow, wow, wow. Mina 2 says goodbye all. Sandy Blythe. Rick thought a morning without Mitch. Jerry Voitush. Hi, Jerry. I didn't see you were here. Excellent live stream. Great job. Thank you so much. Thank you. Mike Sealy, DS111. Smoothie. Mitch Fix, Tanya says. And that's the end of the chat. Rick says, he's laughing. One more time. Good one, Tanya. And Don Schogger says goodbye. Graceful Lily's waving at us. And that's it. I'm going to take this opportunity to get the hell out of here. Thanks for coming, everybody. Tina, thank you so much for making this just a fabulous, fabulous stream. I hope you got it all out of your system, and take that piece of paper and throw it away, and onward and upward for many, many, many decades from here. We'll see you all guys. Well, it sounds like for a grandma. We'll see you all tomorrow. Take the rest of the day off. Enjoy the holiday weekend. And as we've discovered, eat meat.